Hello. Yeah, good morning, and let's start the continuation of the PG-based backup. So we know that PG-based backup is a physical backup where we can take the entire cluster files as a backup, and it's an exact copy of your PG data, and we don't have any feasibility to take at any specific database or table. And we know that if you take any PG-based backup, it's an exact copy of your PG data. And apart from this PG data, we are also taking our wall files as a part of our backup, and anyhow we have our archives. So we are going to recover our cluster with the help of archives.
Nihar.
Can someone please mute?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, basically we have seen in the last session like how to take a PG based backup and how to do the full complete cluster recovery. And we also seen few scenarios like how to do a point in time recovery, whether you need the timestamp or whether you need with a restore point, or you also need with any of the LSN or timestamp. Okay, so any of the option we can use. So at a time we have to use any one option based on our requirement. Okay, for this, our important thing is we have to enable the cluster into archlog mode. Okay, and while restoring, we have to enable restore command parameter, which is important. So if you just enable restore command, it will do a complete recovery. If you want to do point in time recovery, we have several recovery target parameters like recovery target time, recovery target name, okay, recovery target LSN, and so on. So we have these different options. Okay, so based on our requirement, we can use any of the option and we can recover our entire cluster up to that specific point of time. Okay. So only important thing is we have to enable restore command. Along with the restore command, if you want to do any point in time recovery, we have to enable that target recovery, and we have to create recovery.signal. So if you create recovery.signal, your cluster will go to recovery mode. And once you do the point in time recovery, so later you have to uh, pass your cluster, right? So again, it has to come back to the read write mode from recovery mode. So that we have seen in the last session. Okay, so today we'll see two more scenarios. Like, so if you have any customized table space, so how to deal with this customized table space? And actually, we can take the backup in two ways. Okay, so one is a plain format, and the other is tab format. Okay, so if you take your backup with a plain format, you have to, by default, your customized table space will also take in the same location. So you have to specify a separate backup location for your table space as well. Okay, otherwise it will not take in a separate backup folder. It will try to take in the same table space folder, so it will fail. Okay, so this we have to take it. If you take in the plain format by using PG based backup, you have to create 3 separate backup folders for each table space. How many table space you have, that many table space separate backup folder you have to create. And while taking the plain format backup, you have to specify that from where to where you have to take the backup for each table space. Okay, but whereas if you take the backup with the tar format, you don't need to worry about it. So it will automatically take with the OID of your table space in the same backup location where you specify. Okay, that is only one catch thing which we need to remember. So it's always good to take with the tar format because it will zip with the OID. Okay. So then while restoring your cluster, how you will identify which table space OID is in which location and where it has to point out. Okay, when you take the backup with the tar format, it will create one file called tablespace underscore map. Okay, in this file it will specify, for example, your OID is 6523. Okay, this is related to tablespace 1, and 7856, this is related to tablespace 2, and there is one more tablespace, it is TBS 3. So like this it will have an entry in the table space underscore map, which is present in the PG data location, okay, of your backup files. So in this file, it will specify which OID belongs to which table space. So based on that, you have to copy uh, your respective OID into respective table space location while doing the restore, okay, or recover. So this we'll see one scenario if we have any customized table space, and we can also take the PG based backup from remote machine, right? So usually in real time, what they will do, they will have a separate backup server where all backups will happen in this server from any cluster. It may be prod, UAT, dev, whatever it may be. So in this case, what they will do, they will configure Postgres client here, and they will uh, so they will connect from here to here, and they will add and they will take the backup. This is second scenario we'll see today. So for this, what we have to do, we have to allow this IP. So the backup server IP in your Postgres cluster pg_hpa.conf file. Okay, so this IP you have to allow. Then only whenever you connect from this submission to here, it will accept the connections. Okay, so whatever the IP which you have in the backup server, that IP you have to add here, the pghpa.conf of your PostgreSQL cluster. Then from here, you can connect and you can take the backup in the backup server. For example, in the backup server, I'm going to take in PostgreSQL/backup. Okay. And once you take the backup, if something happened here, you can directly start your cluster here itself. And here in archive command, instead of your archives pointing to your local machine, you can directly point it to the remote machine, like for example, /home/arc. Okay. So your archives also is coming here directly from your prod. Okay. And if anything happen, you can directly do restore and recover here. Same how we do in the local mission. Here also we do the same. So we have the backups in the backup location, and already archives is coming from there to here. Okay, so we have to just create touch recovery.signal file. We have to just create in the assume that this is our PG data directory. We can just create recovery.signal, and we have to add necessary parameters. Okay, like restore command if you want to do complete recovery, or any of the target parameters if you want to do point in time recovery. So we have to just specify that in the parameter file, and we can directly start the cluster here. So this case, probably what in real time, most probably whenever any table has been lost by mistake, any developers delete any table. So we can directly start the cluster here, and we can take that table backup, and we can import. Or so this is for if anything happening to this cluster, we can start the cluster here, and we can safeguard our cluster. So this is one scenario we'll do today. Okay. And yeah, so and here there is pg_wall. We know that by default it is 16 MB of your size. Okay, so because our wall size is by default it is 16 MB as a parameter, we have seen that. Okay, and the max wall size, it whatever parameter value which we specify, it will keep on growing up to that specific value. So by default it will create with 16 MB of file size. Okay, the data will keep on write in this 16 MB. Once the 16 MB is reached, again it will generate new file with 16 MB. Okay, like this, it's keep on generating the wall files until it grows 1 GB. Okay, and so whenever you do the recovery target with restore point, okay, so there is no specific view for us to see what are the restore points we have in the Postgres cluster. Only thing is, whenever you create the restore point, it will log in the alert log. Okay, so from there you have to capture the name of the target, the restore point name which you have created. Okay, based on that name you can use in the recovery target. So only that is the solution. There is no other option to capture the name. There is no specific catalog views. Okay, the only thing is it will log into the alert log. From there you have to capture. So this is the only thing. Okay, so let's do the practical, how we can, for example, if I have different table spaces, okay, how we can do that. Okay, I have my Okay, I have my P15 is running. Okay, so let's, currently I don't have any customized table space. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create /home Postgres. I have three folders called TBS1, TBS2, and TBS3. I'm going to create three separate table spaces. Okay. For example, create table space T1 and location is this location. I'm pointing to each table space. I'm going to pointing to P. Next, I'm going to create table space 2, which is T2. And similarly, I'm going to create as a T3. So I have three customized table space right now. So and let's see what are the databases I have. I have one database called Skyoops, and I have a schema called Sky. Okay, so and these are the tables I have. Okay, for example, I want to move this table to the table space which I have created, right? So this is my table space. So I will try to move this table, alter table name, set table space T1, okay, which means I'm going to move this table to table space 1. Similarly, I will try to move other table. Similarly, T3. For example, assume we are moving employees. Okay, since this is having so many billion records, I think it might take some time. Okay, let it happen. So in the meantime, what we can do, we can just go and enable the parameters in the duplicate session. Okay, just, yeah, it's done. Okay, so now we have three tables in this three table spaces. Okay, we have some data in this table space. Now, before we take the PG base backup, let's go and check whether we have SQL.conf. We have necessary parameters enabled or not. Okay, so these are the mandatory parameters where we can enable. And this is the port and RPO mode. So we should always make sure the cluster is in RP log mode. So with the help of OS command, I'm going to copy the wall files into this path, home arc. Okay. So this is the syntax how we can specify the RQ command. So here I'm telling copying the exact wall files, whatever I'm generating from into this path, okay, as a RQ arc. Okay, let's see whether this directories exist or not. Okay, I have this directory and let's restart our cluster. Okay, so my cluster is in RK log mode. Okay, and let's do one forceful log switch and we'll see if RKS is coming in the directory. PG switch. So let's see in this directory we have RKS coming or not. So RKS is coming. Okay. Now, so now let's take the PG base backup. Home. There is a folder called backup. So I want my backups to be stored here. Okay. So PG base backup -- help. Okay. So when you have customized table space and when you are going with a plain format, okay, so we have to use this option, table space map. For this, before I take the backup, I will also create three subdirectories for my table spaces. For example, home tbs1 underscore backup. So why I created these three directories? Because when I take my backup in the plain format, if I not specify this option, it will try to take in the original location. Okay, so we should handle this. This option we have issue whenever you have whenever we are taking in a plain format. Okay, let's see. I'm taking a plain format. PG base backup -u Postgres and -d. I'm going to take my backup in this location. Okay, and I'm also taking my wall files parallelly. For this, we have to use -x, which is stream method, or even you can use fetch method. So only difference between stream and fetch method is fetch method will take the wall files after completion of your full backup. Okay, but whereas stream method will parallelly take your wall files, whatever wall files it's keep on generating, it will keep on taking as a part of your backup. Okay, and now I don't want to wait for my checkpoint to be occurred. So I want checkpoint to be forcefully occur. For this, there is option called checkpoint. Yeah, hyphen checkpoint equal to fast, right? And I want to check my progress with -p, and I also want to check output with -v purpose. Okay, and here I will specify my format is -fp, which means plain format. And we'll see, I did not specify any tablespace map. Without tablespace map, if I take my backup, we'll see what it happens. Okay, what it is telling, error directory. This is my tablespace, customized tablespace. It's not empty. Okay, which means the PG base backup is taking your tablespace backup in the same location. So that's why it is failing. Okay. So whenever you are taking in the plain format, and if you have any customized tablespace, you have to take like this. If you want to take in the plain format, you have to specify tablespace map as well. Okay. So here you have -hyphen tablespace map or -t. Okay. So -t. What is my tablespace? Like for example, home Postgres / TBS1, right? TBS1. So this I want to take to this backup /Postgres / TBS_BKP. So this I have created. Okay, basically this method is not recommended because if you have like 100 table spaces, okay, so you cannot create 100 directories and you cannot specify in the backup, right, in the backup script. So that is the reason we have a good method. If you have customized table space, the good method always is to go with tar format. Okay, when you take in the tar format, PG base backup will automatically take your all backups into the tar format, into the tar file. Okay. So now, okay. Now I also want to specify the other table spaces. Home, Postgres, TBS2. Okay, this I want to take to this location. Similarly, I want to take my third table space. This directory. Okay, now let's run the backup. Okay, now it is taking, right? So this is how we have to specify. If you have any customized table space, we have to deal like this. If you are taking in the plain format, okay, so it will take all your table spaces to this backup location, and in this main main backup location, you have your PG data. Okay, so which we called as a base backup. So if you see all the PG data came here, and if you go to your table space, so here you have your table space. Okay, it creates with minor version, sorry, a major version, and here you have the OID of your table space. Okay, this is your table space files. Okay, this is how it generates when you take in the plain format. Okay, but when you take in the tar format, it will take care of everything. Okay, so when you take your backup, as usual, it will generate the backup label file. Okay, and it will also generate the backup main fest. So what is a backup main fest? I think this backup main fest, it is, I think they are added in the 13 version. So why? Because whenever you take any PG based backup, uh, internally we don't know what files exactly it is taking the backup. So that's why they have added a new file called backup manifest, where it will tell what are the files it is taking the backup. Um, you see, okay, so this is something which is not, yeah. Here, if you see, it is taking whatever the files, okay, and how much size it has. Okay, when it is last modified, everything it is capturing. Okay, in this main fest. Okay, so see each and individual file it will give what along with the size. Okay, when it is taking the backup. So that's what they added in the backup main fest file. So previously this is not there. Recently in 13 version they have introduced. Okay, as usual in the backup label it will give when the backup started and when at exactly at what wall file it has started. Okay, and this is something label it will give by default as a PG based backup. Okay, so this is how it generates the backup label. And if you go to PG underscore wall location, here also it will generate a okay in the backup folder. So currently where we are. Okay, so if you go to the PG data, so we have PG underscore wall, right? PG underscore wall. So here it also generates the backup for like entry like this. Okay, it has your backup start time and end time. Okay, so which means up to 76 wall files, all walls are as a part of your backup. After 76, whatever the wall file generated, this is not part of your backup. Okay, so this generated after your backup. Okay, now let's go and take your backup with tar format and we'll see what happens. So I'm just removing all my backups. So let's take the backup with tar format and we'll see. Okay, so here I don't want -t options now because I'm going to take in the tar form. We'll see what happens. Okay, instead of P, I'll just specify -t. And parallelly, you can open the other session and you can check the backup progress. Okay, there is a view called PG stat progress backup. So there it will show all the progress. Okay, so now my backup is completed. You can just check in the backup location. Okay, it will generate in the tab format like this. Okay, so this is sorry. So these three files are table space tar files. It generates with the OID of your table space, and base.tar is something which is your main PG data folder. Okay, and you have backup main fest. Okay, it will also generate backup manifest, which means it's same, like what are the files it has taken the backup. It will capture that. And it also captured the wall files as a separate tar file. Okay. Now, after backup, let me go and do some changes in one of the table, like maybe I'll just try to create a table T1. Okay, after backup, I have done some changes. Okay, and this table is not part of our backup. Now let's assume something happened to my cluster. Okay, it's not coming up, and I want to uh, so I want to restore from backups. Okay, now how we can identify which table space we have to copy to which location. Okay, for example, let's go to the PG data. I'm going to remove all the files because I have my backup. I don't need to worry about it. And let me go and remove all the files. This is my original table space location. Okay, even I'm going to remove my TBS2. TBS2. Even I'm going to delete my TBS3. Okay, I have deleted all my data location and as well as all the three table spaces. Okay, now I have my backup. How we can, restore to that specific locations. Okay, to the table space location. And if you have 100 table spaces, how we can identify which table space is in which location. Okay. Okay, let's go to our backup folder. Okay, first let me unzip base backup, which means this is my main backup into PG data location. Okay, I'm going to unzip all the files which is generated as a part of base backup into my PG data location. Okay, so let's unzip these files. And if you go to PG underscore data location, you have your files back. Okay, which means this is restore. We are doing restorations. Okay, with the copy command, and you could see it as the um, backup label, as well as we also have the table space map. Okay, if you see it generated a folder called table space underscore map. Here you could see which table space OID is in which location. Okay, so that from here you can identify and you can copy the respective table space into this location. Okay, from the backup. Let's go to /home Postgres and backup. Okay, now I got the details from this table space map location and I'm going to unzip. Okay, so this related OID 16441.tar to my first table space location. Similarly, we'll also do 16442 into my TBS2 location. T.tar. Okay, I have my backup and I have restored. I mean, I have copied all the backups into my respective folders. Now let's go and do a complete recovery. Okay, so let's open the PostgreSQL.conf and we have archives already enabled. Now the thing is you have to enable restore command. Okay, copy. You are copying from here to here. Okay, so just create touch recovery dot signal file. And just start the cluster. So we have copied table spaces, we have copied our PG data. Okay, and I have created the recovery dot signal and enabled restore command. It will do the complete recovery. Okay, so if you just go and check your log file. So system is ready to accept the connections. Wait, whatever the wall files it has restored to that specific point of time. And it has restored this log file. This log file generated after log. Even this also generated after your backup. Okay. So once the consistent state is reached, it just open the cluster. And now you can just go and see your data. Okay, you have your T1 table, okay, which is created after your backup. So this is how you can do whenever you have customized table space. You have to take in the tar format And once you take the backup, it creates the tablespace underscore map for tablespace underscore map file. In that, it will store which tablespace is mapping with OID into which location. So based on that, you can just copy your respective tablespace into that location. Okay, so this is how you can deal whenever you have customized tablespace. Now we will see one more scenario how we can enable backup into different server. So how we can take the backup from the different server. Okay, so let me open the other putty. So I have, this is my server name as a dbserver02.com, and this is my dbserver01.com. Okay, now assume that this is my prod cluster and this is my backup server. So here I have just installed only the binaries. Okay, I haven't initiated any cluster. So I have just installed the Postgres server. That's it, which means I have only the binaries. Apart from this, I don't have any cluster running in this server. If you see, I don't have any clusters. And if you go to here, I have only binaries. Okay, so this server, we have configured only my client binaries. That's it. I don't have any clusters initiated in this server. Now I want to take my this dbserver01.com this entire cluster backup into this server. Okay, so for this I will just create a folder. Okay, I already have a backup folder. Okay, so I want to take in this location all my this mission backup. Okay, for this what we have to do, so we have to take the pg base backup here. We have to initiate our pg base backup command here, and we have to specify from which host you are taking and from which port, from which user, all those things you have to specify. So before this, you have to allow the connections in the pghpa.conf, right? So just go to pg data and just open PostgreSQL, sorry, pghpa.conf file. Okay. And by default, if you see, everything is trust. Okay, I don't want anything to be trust because all the remote connections, whenever it has to connect, it has to ask the password. So I will change my authentication method as MD5. I don't want trust because if any missions is connecting from remote server, it has to ask password. It should not connect without any password, right? So I want everything to be asked password. So I have changed everything as an MD5. Now we have to allow the IP of my source. Okay, so for example, post all, and my IP of my remote mission or client mission is 192.168.1.7. Okay, so I'll just specify the entire series in CDR format. Okay, so here what I'm taking 192.168.1.0, the IPs whichever coming into this series, everything will be allowed in this mission. Okay, and you also need to add in the replication privilege, because whenever any server is connecting from remote mission and whenever it is taking the backup, you also need to add in the replication privilege side as well. Okay, I'm just adding this one as well in the replication side because okay, so even you don't need to allow all the users. Okay, whatever user you are trying to connect, you can just allow a specific user as well. For example, I want to allow only Postgres. Because I'm taking my backup from the Postgres user, so I'm just allowed that user only. Okay, or you can also specify all. All means it will allow everything. Okay, and now I will add in the replication side as well. Replication here, whether you want to allow all or you can specify any user, whatever you want. Okay, so here also I'm allowing. So once you do any modifications, you have to restart your cluster. Okay, I have restarted the cluster. So which means whatever the IPs coming in this range, whatever we specify, okay, so this range of IPs, it will allow the connections. So without this, you cannot take any backups from the remote machine. Okay, now let's try to take the backup from the remote machine. Okay. So I want to take backup from into this location. So PG based backup -u Postgres. From which server I want to take the backup? Let's take this server IP. So this is my cluster IP 1.10. Okay, and this is my backup. So backup server is 1.7. Okay, so from this host, and what is the data backup directory? This is my backup directory. I want to store in my local, and as usual, the options is same. So I want to take my wall files, and I also need to happen my checkpoint fast. Right? Hyphen checkpoint equal to fast, and I want to take in the tag format, and I want to also see my progress. Okay, so we'll see. I'm taking the remote cluster, which is present in 1.10 into my local. So what it is telling, okay, there is no root. Okay, looks like I want to disable the firewall. Somewhere it is blocking, even the connection itself not. Okay, let me connect to root. Stop firewall. Let me do this mission as well, system city. Okay, let's try to take the backup again because I have disabled the firewall. Somewhere it is blocking. Okay, now it is asking the password. Okay, so I have just given the password. And before I give enter, let me connect to my Postgres cluster. And parallelly, when it is taking the backup, I also want to check the progress of my backup. Okay, so for this, I have a view called select star from pg underscore stat underscore progress underscore base backup. So this is the view where we can able to see my backup progress. Okay, so now let me try to give an enter here. Okay. Okay, so because because I don't know the password for my Postgres. Okay, I'm just changing my password. Okay, so let's try again. And now it is starting. I want to check the backup status. Okay, so this is how you can check. So backup total this much, and up to here how much it has taken, and total number of table spaces. Among that, it has taken 2 table spaces. So like this, you can check. Since it is completed, we are not able to identify anything. So while running, it will give the progress. Okay, how much total backup, how much it has cleaned, and how many table space. Like this, it will give some information here. Okay. So now if you see my backup has taken in the local, I mean in this mission. Okay. Now what I can do, so I can just unzip this file base.tar file into wherever the location where I want. So for example, if I want to assume my same location as my PG data location, I can just unzip in the same location and I can start my cluster. So before you start the cluster, you have to see the tablespace underscore map file, and you have to copy the respective tablespace as well into that respective location before you start the cluster. Okay, so let's do like this. For example, tar-xpf base.tar. I'm just zipping in the same location because I'm assuming my PG data also in the same location. So once you do, it will generate the tablespace map. So based on the tablespace map, you can understand. You can just create these 2 directories. These 3 directories, okay? And you can just zip this respective table spaces into the respective locations. this I want to copy to one into this location. Okay, I can see. And here I have to copy this to this location. Similarly, 3. Okay, so now let's try to start the cluster. Okay, so USR pg is equal bin pg underscore ctl start hyphen d. This is my data directory, home, Postgres, backup. Okay, so let's start the cluster. Okay, so it looks like some issue. Let's go and verify in the log file. What is the issue? So if you're restoring from a backup, touch recovery.signal. Okay, because we have missed adding the recovery.signal. That is the reason it is not able to start the cluster. Okay, so we have to specify recovery.signal before we start, right? Okay, so let's go and see. So trying to remove backup, reset to corrupt cluster restoring from a backup. So could not locate required checkpoint. Okay. It is trying to read this, but it is not able to delete this file. Maybe because before we haven't started the cluster with the recovery.signal. So because of that, something it has. So basically it has to remove this backup label. Okay, so let's take the fresh backup again. Or let's try to move this. Okay, so I've taken the backup again. Platform, Postgres. Okay, so I've just unzipped these backups and we have tablespace map created, and let's copy this. In this location. Oh, sorry. So I've copied to that location. Okay. Let me remove this. So let me copy again. Oh, I did correctly only. So I've copied to two only. So third, I'm copying to third location. Just go to your backup location. So before this, basically we need 7 hyphen or 700 permission to this location, the slash home Postgres backup, because data directory permission should be 700. For this, we have to make sure before we start the cluster. And we also need to create okay, so to do recovery, even we have to configure our archives. Okay, from this mission, we can just configure our archives to directly to that location. Okay, so I don't want to go my cluster to be recovery mode. I'm just trying to start VC. Now I'll set my bash profile. So that is the reason it is like I'm giving full path. Okay, so let's try to start. Invalid checkpoint record could not locate the required checkpoint. Okay, if you are restoring from a backup, touch recovery.signal and add recovery options. If you are not restoring from the backup, try to remove from. Okay, so okay, let's go and do. Where is my Postgres SQL.conf file? So this I'm copying to my pg underscore wall. And let me copy all the archives. because when you are configuring the RKs, you have to directly copy with ACP to this client location because we have the RKs is in local, right? So it's not able to read home Postgres and Arc. So with the help of parsing, I'm trying to copy my RKs. Let me create a folder called org. So this location I have to copy, right? So what is my IP of my remote machine? 192.168.1.7. Okay, so into this location I want to copy. So before this, I will change my password of my Postgres user. So we have added recovery.signal and postgresql.com. So here we have archive folder and we specify the same path. Okay, let's see. Here we have archives as well. So let's try to restart the cluster. Okay, so server is started. So basically here, whenever you configure your archives, okay, show archive underscore command. So instead of CP, you can specify SCP and you can mention the username and IP address. But the thing is you should have SSH connectivity between both the nodes. Okay, passwordless SSH connectivity between client's type mission and this mission. So anyhow, this we are covering in the, replication concept. Okay, how we can enable SSH connectivity between your primary to standby and how we can establish the connection between both and how we can copy the archives to the remote machine. Here we need to add either SCP or rsync and you have to copy these archives instead of the local machine to the remote machine. And whenever you have any issue, you can directly start your cluster. Okay. So when you start your cluster, all the data, whatever you have, so will be exist here because after backup, whatever the archives you have, it will apply those archives. And whenever you have any issue, you can just start your cluster here, okay, from the backup machine. So this is how you can take the backups from the remote machine. The only catch point is you have to configure your archives to the remote machine, the help of SCP or rsync, okay? Anyhow, we are seeing this scenario in the replication concept while we do the log-based replication, okay? Yeah, so this is how you can configure the backups from the remote machine. So currently what we did, we have connected from here and take the PG base backup of your entire cluster. And here for now, manually, I copied all my archives to here. But instead of this, you can configure directly to the remote machine by using SCP. Okay, you can try that. If not try also, anyhow, we are covering this in the replication concept. Okay. And this is the important file tablespace map whenever you have any customized tablespace. Okay. Yeah, so that's it I have today. Probably tomorrow we'll discuss more about the PG backtest. Okay, so today, so with this we completed the PG base backup and how to restore and recover from the local mission, remote mission. Tomorrow we'll see about PG backrest. Okay, what is a PG backrest and how we can configure the backups with a PG backrest? Okay, any questions so far?
I'll go through the video and I'll ask you questions if any. I had to drop off because of a 7-pager.
Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah. Okay, if no other questions, any questions? Any other questions?
We are good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We'll provide the lab manual and you can just try to practice it. Okay, thank you. Bye.